Hi, everybody. This is David Nevins for Citybiz List, and I'm very excited. Today's guest interview is John Weiner, president of Inovi Healthcare. John, good morning and
David.
welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, John, let's begin. Inovi is probably pretty well known in its field, but not exactly a household name as far as our viewers and readers are concerned. Tell us about Inovi, what you do, and and how it got started, if you don't mind.
Great. We're a relatively new company. We service the healthcare market, and we do something that is fairly common sense, but somewhat unusual. We offer incredible pricing with extraordinary service. And we sort of call this the best for less, which is a little corny. Our core product lines are on employee safety and patient safety. We opened up in Owings Mills about 4 years ago. We have a training center in Minneapolis, and we have service and salespeople throughout the U.S. We have right now over 100 hospital customers, which is pretty remarkable in a short startup. And we just won the largest group purchasing contract in the US for our field, which is with Vizient, sort of a test to our customer-friendly, very effective approach.
So, John, I know I'm going to push you a little harder to explain to the average person what you do. I guess it would be called patient handling. Things like that we might all, those of us who've been either fortunate or in some cases unfortunate enough to be in a hospital or a nursing home, patient handling, slings, and so on. Just get into the nitty gritty a little bit, if you don't mind.
Patient handling is something that goes on all day long in a hospital or nursing home. It also goes on, within someone's residence. So you have a spouse taking care of being the caregiver for another spouse. So in a typical hospital, particularly in the ICU, where the goal is to get a patient out of bed once or twice a day, put them in a chair. Right now, in most hospitals, it's 2 to 3 caregivers, particularly with a patient on a ventilator, just trying to get them out of bed without causing a lot of pain, putting them in a chair, maybe lifting them up to reposition them to sort of prevent pressure ulcers or pneumonia. And then sometimes bathing or changing dressings. So historically, this has just been done by 3 or 4 nurses with a draw sheet, tugging and pulling the patient. The VA actually started 20 years earlier with a different type of population, and they have what we call ceiling lifts, which are mounted on the ceiling. Has a sling, as you mentioned, and in most cases, the patient is on top of that sling. It looks like a sheet. So one caregiver can, within like 30 seconds, get a patient out of bed, into a chair, or into a wheelchair, or onto a toilet with zero pain, really, simple productivity, and there's all kinds of great patient outcomes. We also do things with early ambulation. So patients in hospitals and nursing homes and rehab, they need to get them up and walking as soon as possible. And it's sort of risky and it's uncomfortable if anyone's broken a leg or trying to go through rehab. The first part of it is a little nerve-wracking. So we have a lot of different kind of lifts, even a ceiling lift that goes along, a track in a PT, to allow someone to do that, more effectively and more safely. And then related to it, we have a line of products that are fall prevention. So they prevent people from falling. Falls for seniors are one of the worst things that's going to happen. Usually someone wakes up in the middle of the night and needs to go to the bathroom, takes a few steps and falls, or they fall in the bathroom where the surfaces are harder. So we have a whole product line designed for those activities, and we're actually creating a spin-off company this summer that's just focused on the senior market, which is really aging in place, where people they don't have nurses to help them or PTs. So it's really, one person who could be in their 70s or 80s or 90s with a spouse trying to help them do all these activities. And the result is it's pretty unsafe. It creates a huge burden on the caregiver as well as, the person needing it. And unfortunately, there's a whole, group of products that can make this, so much easier and create so much more independence and do it safely. So no one's doing that, believe it or not, because they're doing what the government covers, which is Medicare. So it's just it's sort of another market for us. So we're doing it mostly in the acute care market, hospitals. We're doing some in nursing homes, and then we're doing this big senior care push for homes and senior centers starting this summer.
Well, I know we'll have you on in another few months to talk about the direct, I guess you'd call it direct to consumer marketplace. And I know all my friends and the like, we're trying with those of us who are still fortunate enough to have another generation ahead of us alive and well. We're trying to figure out how do we get them to age more comfortably in place. So it sounds like that's what your new business is going to be about. Let's just go back to Inovi Healthcare for a minute. And I know, just from our previous conversations, you consider your product line to be, I guess what I'll call state of the art, somewhat overused term, but cutting edge product line. Give our viewers a couple of examples, if you might, of, I know you talked about the slings and how that works, but of maybe other more contemporary products that Inovi provides either to hospitals or nursing homes.
Our bread and butter product is a ceiling lift, but ours actually looks nice. So it'd be like the iPhone versus a flip phone. It's really remarkable. And when a hospital does a major construction or renovation, they want the place to look great. And they want the aesthetics are really important. The architects and clinical, everybody, is looking for something that looks, creates a great impression. So our lift is the smallest by far on the market. And it's the only sexy ceiling lift out there. It's like an iPhone. And so it's great. The features are great as well. It's easy to clean, easy to disinfect, which is obviously, particularly with COVID, really critical. And so our product line is really designed, around that. It has to work well, has to be very cost effective, and the aesthetics have to be strong. And a lot of these are sort of Scandinavian originated products. And so the senior market, the aging in place, most of that is just not known of in the US. So if you're at home and you have the resources to sort of, stay in your home longer, aesthetics are even probably more important for you. You want a home care bed that looks like your bed, not like, it came out of a, institution that had been rented for 10 years. So it's sort of differentiating. And then we have a great service team and a clinical team. We provide a lot of training, and, that's the second part, what people want. So we do a lot of service work, preventative maintenance. We do that on our products. We do that on other products. So we have this sort of, full relationship. And, as I noted, we're adding some sort of bathing products that are, again, very innovative, cool aesthetics. So we have a niche product that, is a little belt. It's bigger than a belt. Looks like a very small back brace, and has 2 airbags in it. So if you're at risk for fall, and particularly at risk for fall and breaking a hip, which again is just really a horrible thing for a senior or anyone who just had hip replacement or knee replacement, or these little airbags deploy before you hit the ground. It's remarkable. Wow. It's totally unknown. It's 100% effective. And so there's just, there's a myriad of products like that just are not well known. A nursing home generally, doesn't have sort of the resources to afford it. It's a short-term rehab type product, or it's really a home care product for, someone that, wants to have someone, be mobile, but be safe.
So if I understood you correctly, sounds pretty cutting edge to me. Now we're talking about airbags for the body, not just for the automobile. Is that right?
It's like that. It's like airbags for the brain, and now airbags for the body. So yes.
Wow, good for you. John, where does Inovi geographically provide its services?
David, we're headquartered in Owings Mills. We have a large training facility where we do, in Owings Mills, we do all our distribution. We have a large training facility in Minneapolis. And we're last year's all, virtual training and video production. And then we have, people in the field across the country. So we're probably in 35 states today servicing customers. So we really are just the continental, US right now.
That's great. And John, so lastly, how does, we have many viewers who are C-suiters. Many of them work in the healthcare field. Others have elderly parents and grandparents they want to make sure are living in comfort. How does someone get a hold of you and Inovi?
Our website is www.inovihealth.com, and anyone can go on the site and place a request or email customer service at inovihealth.com. It's really, it's great stuff. And, it's sort of, to me, it's like wearing a seatbelt. If you wear a seatbelt, you cannot go through the windshield. If you use the lifts and you use them, you're not going to get injured. The caregiver's not going to injure, the patient's not going to get injured, and then you have, all these other great benefits. So, we have really great stuff, and remarkably, we have really great pricing, which is sort of where the healthcare market is today.
I would think not only are you the patient's best friend in terms of reducing their pain and increasing their mobility, but sounds like the hardworking nurses in America today would really appreciate your product line as well.
Yeah, it's a back saver. Nurses have the highest back injury rate in America. Nurses, PTs, aides, OT. So it's really remarkable. And some hospitals have a lot of lifts and use them, and many still do not. And in Europe and Canada, there's a lot more government funding, which is sort of the best way to get people to use something. And then there's really onerous penalties if you don't use it. So if it's made available and the government's going to pay for it and you don't use it, then you're liable as a facility for any injuries. So it's very punitive, and they've been doing it for years. So it's just fully a penetrated market. So we look forward to working with all the healthcare workers in the U.S. As this sort of becomes more widespread.
Well, I know a number of health systems that use your products. I know they're very pleased, John. And as you grow Inovi and then your residential services business later this year, we wish you a lot of luck. Hey, John, just before I let you go, I've been ending these interviews with more of a personal question, not too personal, no worries. But right, I know you during the pandemic in particular. I know you reside in Baltimore, but have been spending a fair amount of time in Florida. So give us a good restaurant recommendation where you like to go, both in Baltimore and Florida, for our viewers to take advantage of, particularly during these pandemic times, that they might be supporting a local business that needs their assistance.
Well, David, I was always worried about my memory, and I just got my 23andMe test back, and I don't have the Alzheimer's, gene, which is great. So I can remember a few, but in Palm Beach, St. Ambrose, which is outside, which is in the same, right down the street from Palm Beach Grill, is great pasta, and the tables are outside and they're very far apart. So anyone worried about COVID, it's, a great place to go. And then in Baltimore, if you're in the suburbs where we are, Linwood's is a staple and is doing great. And then all those, Atlas restaurants downtown, Tagliata and so on, are always fun. But unfortunately, the city is, hasn't been as open as Florida, where COVID sort of to many people doesn't exist. So
right.
Anyway, David, thank you so much for this.
Thank you, John, and good luck to Inovi. And we urge our viewers to check out their product line if that's the nature of the business you're involved in. Anyway, this has been David Nevins for City Biz List, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks.